Sabine Wren's got some new friends to play with here, so let's take about 30 minutes and paint up one of your Mandalorians for Star Wars Legion. Welcome everybody, if we haven't met before, I'm Jason, the creator of the Tabletop Battlefield, and welcome to Speed Painting. This is the show that's not about me trying to show off how awesome a painter I am. Instead, I'm going to show you some simple techniques to be able to paint your miniatures to battle ready standard as fast as possible, because gray plastic sucks. So today we're taking a look at the new Mandalorians. This is Clan Wren, or in the game they're known as the Mandalorian Resistance, from Star Wars Legion. And as I mentioned in the intro, we're going to take about 30 minutes to paint up one of these miniatures, so you can have a whole squad ready to go in about an hour and a half to 2 hours. So we'll dive into it in just a moment, but two standard rules apply for that 30-minute time limit. One, the miniature's already primed, and two, it does not factor in drying time. So if you really want to hit that 30-minute limit, you want to do some batch painting, have all 7 miniatures ready to go, and it'll average out to about 30 minutes per miniature over that time. Alright, let's get started. For the priming step, I'm using some black spray primer from Army Painter's War Paint series, and as usual, I've got my 3D printed priming tool ready to go here. You can find a link to purchase the STL files for that in the show notes of this video. Nothing fancy with the priming, just give them a base coat, and we'll move on to the painting process. Now for all the steps in this painting process, I'm using my Artificer Layer extra small brush from Games Workshop Citadel line of paints. It's a very fine detail brush. The first step here is to cover your miniatures in a slightly thinned down medium gray color. In this case, I'm working with the Dawnstone Gray from Games Workshop Citadel line of paints. Alright, step 2 is to apply some more base color. This time we'll work on the various leather pouches the characters have. Each of the Mandalorians has a belt with some pouches on it. They also have their holsters for their pistols and some straps connecting everything all together. I'm going to apply a medium brown color to all those surfaces. In this case, I'm using Leather Brown from Army Painter's War Paint series. Once those two layers are dried, we're going to move on to a series of two different types of washes. The first is one right out of the bottle. In this case, I'm using Citadel Shades Non-Oil, and I'm going to coat the entire miniature in this wash. So now, without even letting this first layer of wash dry, we're going to move on to the second wash layer, because it's basically the same thing, but a lot more intense. Instead of using a pre-made shade like you get for Citadel, I'm going to take some of their actual black paint and thin it down probably about 4 parts water to 1 part paint. In the end, if it's too thin, you can always apply multiple coats of this. And this heavy wash is going to be applied to all the dark gray uniform areas of the miniature. So no armor, no weapons, no pouches, just the dark gray areas that you see in the box. Once both those layers of washes have dried, it's time to apply the color to the armor painting. For that, I'm using a metallic silver from Army Painter's War Paint series. And well, it's pretty straightforward. I'm just taking the paint and applying it to all the armor panels across the miniature. Another important thing here is be careful with controlling your paint. You want to try to avoid getting it in any of the crevices between the armor panels or things like that. If you do, don't worry about it, we'll fix it later. Because I just did that. Whenever you're working on a nice shiny armor piece like this, feel free to let some of the undercoating show through. It conveys the story of kind of wear, usage, battle damage, things like that. Now we're going to move on to painting some silver details, including the guns, the backpacks, and a few little bits along the belt area. So you're going to take some of the same silver paint, but instead of coating the entire piece in the silver paint, kind of pick out some of the highlights with your detail brush. And then therefore you leave some of the worn color, some of the black wash, things like that visible to give a little bit of contrast to the piece, because it's going to be a little bit more worn. Now we're almost done with the painting. We got 2 steps left, and the last one is a real doozy. But this one's pretty easy. First, going to take some black paint and go into their visor area and make sure that's nice and clean in case you screwed up some paint there. And then also, if you manage to get some paint between some of the armor panels, which is fairly easy to do, take some of the Citadel Shade Non-Oil or similar type wash and just very carefully run this between the armor panels to cover up your mistakes. Well, I hope you like the easy step, because like I said, this last one is brutal. We have to try to replicate the armor patterns that these characters have. And whoever painted these miniatures on the Fantasy Flight box is incredible. Not only is the brush control to get these nice, amazing, smooth, curved things going on just fantastic, Yellow is one of the hardest colors to paint. And in this case, I don't even have the right yellow, so I'm taking some more medium yellow, and I reckon my miniatures, some more medium yellow, mixing in some white to get a bright yellow, and I'm going to do my best to kind of, well, capture the feel of these yellow patterns. I'm not going to get them correct, and don't worry if you can't. Just kind of like I said, capture the feel of what they're trying to go for. And because of the type of paint we're applying here, you're almost certainly going to have to apply 2 layers of the yellow. And with that last awful step complete, your Mandalorians are ready to either gloriously make their armor saves and incredibly good luck, or have them all tank in a single volley and watch 100 points or so of miniatures disappear from the table in one shot. I had both pretty much happen within 2 turns in the one game I've used these guys. So hopefully it goes better, but give your guys a nice base that matches the rest of your army, and good luck fighting for the rebellion. Well, that brings us to the end of the episode. Thank you guys all for watching. Once again, I'm Jason, the creator of the Tabletop Battlefield. Hopefully this gives you a little bit of inspiration to be able to paint up your miniatures in a reasonable amount of time. Sure, you're not going to win any awards for this kind of paint job, but you know what? You're going to have painted miniatures on the tabletop, and it's going to look better than your friend's gray plastic army. So just remember that when you're trying to go ahead and paint these guys up. So, all right. With that, have a great week.